In July of 1993, Guns N' Roses were still one of the biggest bands in the world, and they just finished their infamous Use Your Illusion tour. A tour known for late starts, cancellations, Axl rants, and riots. Of course, some all-time rock and roll performances as well. And that last show in Buenos Aires, Argentina would be the last Guns N' Roses concert for over 7 years. A whole lot changed within Guns N' Roses going into their next tour in 2001, the Chinese Democracy Tour. But the tour was riddled with those same things, more riots and cancellations. The whole damn tour was eventually postponed for 3 whole years, sending Axl back into hiding. What happened between the Use Your Illusion tour and the Chinese Democracy Tour? A 7-year stretch. How'd Axl assemble this new lineup? And how the hell was the beginning of the Chinese Democracy Tour such a disaster? Or as Axl put it,
put this monstrosity together.
Let's dive into this bizarre era of GNR. Following the 2.5-year-long Use Your Illusion tour in 1993, the band was burnt out on every level. They released a covers album at the end of that year called The Spaghetti Incident, which was very underwhelming. They were fizzling out by 1994. They released another cover of the Rolling Stones classic, Sympathy for the Devil. Slash legitimately said that he could hear the band dying while listening to their version. Behind the scenes, Axl brought in a guitar-playing friend of his named Paul Tobias to solo on top of Slash's tracks, and actually joined the band. Slash was livid. The band started venturing out into solo projects around this time as well. Duff already released his first solo album in late '93. Slash formed his solo band in '94, Slash's Snake Pit. Even Axl said he had a solo album of his own in the works at the time, but nothing ever came of that. Axl was also spending way too much time in court at this time, fighting lawsuits against Steven Adler, his ex Stephanie Seymour, and more. Clearly, Guns N' Roses wasn't a priority for any of the band members at this time, and the band fell apart. Year by year, a different member was out of the band. Gilby Clarke, the rhythm guitarist for most of the Use Your Illusion tour, was let go in 1994, soon after the release of The Spaghetti Incident. Slash officially left in '96, with drummer Matt Sorum and Duff McKagen leaving the band in 1997. The band was, albeit half-assed, trying to come up with new material in those years. But musical differences, among other reasons, rendered most of the sessions pointless. The years 1997 and 1998 were the biggest transition point for the band. In '97, Axl recruited Finck of 9 Inch Nails to replace Slash. Paul Tobias remained to be the second guitarist, and drummer Josh Freese replaced Sorum. In '98, bassist Tommy Stinson of The Replacements replaced Duff, and keyboardist Chris Pitman joined the band. Although Dizzy Reed still remained in the band as the man on the keys, Axl brought in Pitman for his expertise in modern sounds, like synthesizers, sub-bass, and programming. The entire band was overhauled, with Axl and Dizzy Reed being the only 2 standing members, and Axl the only original member. Now, we move into this new era of GNR, titled by fans as New Guns. With New Guns intact and in the studio by 1998, the record company was constantly badgering for a release of Chinese Democracy right from the start. You know, release an album in a reasonable amount of time, not a crazy ask for a band. The band made plenty of new tunes, but Axl, being the perfectionist that he's known to be, was never content with the album coming out. Then the record company bitches and pisses off Axl more. So the band's in the studio throughout '98 and '99, and rumors about them touring started to come up. The first of which came from the Rolling Stone in January of '99, saying the band was rumored to be playing multiple festivals throughout the year, most notably Lollapalooza. Then again in April, with rumors of the band playing Woodstock '99 coming up. However, Axl and the band not having their shit together in the studio resulted in no concerts in 1999. The band managed to only squeak out a bizarre half of a song, with a newly recorded outro of Sweet Child of Mine being on the soundtrack of movie Big Daddy. Guitarist Finck was fed up.
Horse shit!
His contract with the band was up in August of 1999, and he decided to walk away from the band. However, he did end up rejoining about a year later. But Robin's sudden departure was just another reason for Axl to delay the album. It did, however, spark the band to rehash the song Oh My God for release on the movie End of Days at the end of the year. Of course, the band had Robin's parts of the song removed and re-recorded. Other members of New Guns were getting restless as well. Billy Howardell, one of Axl's go-to engineers at the time, formed a side project with drummer Josh Freese called A Perfect Circle. History was repeating itself with members leaving and side projects. Axl would bring in high-profile players like Dave Navarro and Brian May, only to not even use their parts in the songs. So much time was being wasted, and now we're in the year 2000. More changes were imminent. To start the year, drummer Josh Freese left the band, tired of waiting around. To replace him, Brian Mantia, better known as Brain, joined the band. Around the same time, Axl brought Buckethead into the band to replace Finck on lead guitar.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Buckethead.
Quite the polarizing decision by Axl. Buckethead is one of the best guitarists ever, technically speaking, but the man is undoubtedly disturbed, and being in a band like Guns N' Roses was not a good fit for him. Midway through the year 2000, Axl did find some time to make headlines for his first public performance since 1994. He hopped on stage of a Hollywood club with old pal Gilby Clarke, doing a couple Rolling Stones covers. Finally, Axl was on stage again, for the first time in 7 years. That had to be a good sign for a forthcoming tour. In October of 2000, it was announced that Guns N' Roses would be playing Rock in Rio 2001. Around this same time, Finck rejoined the band to complement Buckethead on lead guitar. Things were getting serious finally. A warm-up show before Rio was being planned, so in December the band was seriously rehearsing. Of course, Axl was MIA for most of the rehearsals. They had one notable rehearsal at the end of the year where Axl showed up, but just to watch the stage show. The band played a full set in front of Axl, with full-on pyro and confetti throughout. Upon finishing the set, Axl promptly left without saying a word. The band was left thinking, who the hell is going to clean up all this confetti? That's New Guns in a nutshell. A Las Vegas New Year's Eve show was rumored as the warm-up gig, and a buzz was in the air. More rumors started coming. The new album in 2001, along with a huge summer tour, hitting all the big festivals. The Chinese Democracy Tour finally seemed imminent. On January 1st, 2001, at 3:35 a.m., New Guns hit the stage for the first time in Vegas. The lineup being Axl Rose, Buckethead, Finck, Paul Tobias, Tommy Stinson, Brain, Dizzy Reed, and Chris Pitman. Yup, 3 guitar players and 2 guys on the keys. This became the new normal for GNR until Slash joined the band again in 2016. The show was professionally shot, intended for some kind of commercial release. However, of course, that got scrapped. The full-length Pro Shot concert did eventually leak to fans in the year 2018, which was fucking awesome. Watching this concert, professionally shot, was a moment I'll never forget. The band played more of their old material than new. The 5 new songs they debuted that night were Oh My God, Riyadh and the Bedouins, Chinese Democracy, Street of Dreams, then known as The Blues, and Absurd, then known as Silkworms. Axl also gave some awesome trademark rants throughout the show. There were also some touching moments between Axl and the crowd. The warm-up show did send a buzz throughout the music world. Guns was finally back and ready to make their grand entrance 2 weeks later in Brazil. The Rock in Rio show in 2001 was when the world really saw what New Guns was. It's such a different look than what the band was known for. From a sleazy LA rock and roll gang to a group of odd-fitting super musicians. The band played those same 6 new songs, along with the live debut of Madagascar. In retrospect, this performance was pretty polarizing to the public. Some thought the band sounded awesome, and that Axl never missed a beat getting back on stage. Others couldn't get over the fact that Axl was the only original member remaining, or thought Axl's vocals weren't up to par. Axl also debuted his new style on stage, wearing baggy pants and mostly button-up short-sleeve shirts, a style that would continue to evolve as each year would pass. He had plenty of rants, speaking about the old band, the new band, and my favorite from this gig, the internet rant. Also, in true Axl form, he kicked a fan out of the venue during the second song for wearing a shirt that had Slash on it.
That guy, gone!
It's always fun going back and watching this concert, as it was unique, if nothing else. On January 8th, a week before the Rio show, tickets went on sale for the official start of the Chinese Democracy Tour. 17 European leg shows throughout the month of June were booked, slated to begin at the Rock AM Ring Festival on June 1st. However, the wheels were already beginning to come off the tracks. 9 of the Euro shows got cancelled, and the other 8 of them got rescheduled for December of that year, and then they got cancelled. The reason for the cancellation of the tour's kickoff was Buckethead. He was diagnosed as having a gastric ailment by one doctor and tuberculosis by another. He was ill, and that was the reason given in the press releases for the tour's cancellation. But I speculate that his situation within the band played the biggest part in this. Buckethead was growing restless with the band not putting out an album, just like the rest of the band. He actually had a few falling outs with the band throughout 2000 and 2001. One infamous instance, as told by then A&R man Tom Zutaut, had Buckethead watching hardcore porn in a man-made chicken coop within his recording booth while recording his guitar tracks. Just bizarre. Axl walked into the studio, saw this, and had a long talk with Bucket about how fucked up that is. Another time, Axl had to bring Buckethead to Disneyland to get him back in the band. So with tensions with Bucket growing as fast as his restlessness, he developed an illness apparently. The band was planning on hitting up the United States following those initial Euro dates as well. But things fell apart before those dates became official. Things were lagging again throughout 2001. The idea of touring was out the window, and the Chinese democracy songs were just sitting stagnant, having band members re-recording parts over and over again. But in December, the band was again amping up their rehearsals, as 2 more end-of-the-year Las Vegas shows were scheduled on the 29th and 31st. These shows would both take place at the Joint in the Hard Rock Cafe. The lineup of the band remained the same as the early 2001 shows. The fan and press reviews of the show are all we have to go off of, along with some photos, as no audio or video has ever surfaced from these shows. The band's look was overall the same, with Axl debuting his new trend of wearing oversized sports jerseys. He also wore a badass long jacket throughout one of the shows. He also had a few small braids in his hair, foreshadowing the unique braids to come. Even Slash was confirmed to be in Las Vegas, and was very close to attending one of the shows. Rumors were that Slash showed up to the venue with guitar in hand, but I don't think that is true. He was warned in his hotel room to not attend the show, as the band's management was afraid that it would spook Axl. The band played a very similar set as their shows earlier in the year, with no new songs being debuted. The first gig on the 29th definitely had some hiccups. There appeared to be a lot of sound problems for the band. During Oh My God, the 5th song of the set, Axl left the stage in a rage, leaving Tommy to finish the vocals on the song. During the same song, Robin slammed his guitar on the stage. Axl's odd presence continued on for the rest of the night, probably since he wasn't comfortable with his soundpiece. Later on in the show, he would yell at his sound guy. Buckethead's first guitar solo was played pretty much to cover up for the sound difficulties. He played parts of the Star Wars theme and the Pirates of the Caribbean theme. After Rocket Queen, Axl told the crowd about the band's current status. He talked about how these shows in Vegas were the first ones he wanted to play since the Use Your Illusion tour. He nonchalantly criticized Doug Goldstein, his manager, for booking the Euro 2001 tour without his knowledge, leading Axl to find out about it through the internet. Then someone in the crowd yelled out, "Bullshit!" He went on to promise that the band would eventually deliver on the album. All the songs were played straight through. There was no encore break, a rarity for a GNR concert. Thankfully, at least Axl didn't abruptly end the show early. Night 2 on the 31st went much more smooth. A year from the day they made their comeback the year prior, it seemed like Axl was starting from scratch again. Kind of like a do-over. He's gonna get it right this time. We'll see. The most notable performance this night was Oh My God, with the band nailing it. The band was playing with more of an edge and swagger, likely trying to prove the prior show was a fluke. To end the show, Axl closed with 2002 Las Vegas, Nevada, good fucking night. Would 2002 finally be the year for New Guns to make their mark? Up until now, the Chinese Democracy Tour technically hasn't even started yet. They've just played all one-off shows that get lumped in with the tour in history. In the next installment of this series, we'll dive into the next years of this Guns N' Roses saga.